Hey crocheters, it's time again, we're back. We have more crochet fun for you here at the library. Even though we can't meet in person yet, we're back here in this virtual space so that you guys can get your crochet fix. And me too, because I love to crochet as well. And we have an exciting project to reveal today. We are gonna dive in to another long-term month-by-month project, which means you'll get a little bit more information each month, which is exciting. It's a project that builds, and at the end of the project, you'll have a beautiful blanket. We're gonna make a blanket this time. This blanket is made up of a lot of different squares that'll expose you to a lot of different crochet techniques. So the first one we'll be doing today, and you'll actually need to make 10 of these, I think. So you'll have enough work to keep you busy for the rest of the month until we meet again next month. So you'll make 10 of these, and then each other square is actually a different stitch. So those will be really fun to learn. There's a lot of different textures and styles, and if you're reading the pattern along with me, you'll learn a lot about different techniques and the way they're written. So this is the pattern right here. This is actually a pattern that is available online already. So you can, look back to it if you prefer to read it on maybe a tablet or something while you're crocheting. You can get it that way. But this is basically what you're going to get in your kit. We also have some crochet hooks here that you can have if you don't have a crochet hook to get started with. And we also have a bunch of yarn. The library has been lucky enough to get a lot of donations of yarn from people who know we do this crochet group. And lately we haven't had a good way to use it. So we're using it this way. And if you're making this project and you need some yarn, stop by the library. We have a bunch of those donated skeins that have been wrapped up and sitting in quarantine for weeks now. And you can pick one. We have some leftover yarn from our Tunisian project. Those are real big skeins, kind of like this. The Karen pound, I think they're just called jumbo because they're not a full pound. The colored and variegated yarns don't often come in as large of a quantity as the solid colors. Anyway, big honkin' skein of yarn left over from that project. You're welcome to take one of those. And then we also have a bunch of smaller skeins that I've wrapped that you can pick from as well. And you can have 2 of those at a time. So when you come to pick up your pattern and maybe a hook, you can also pick some yarn to get started with. Now you're very much welcome to use your own yarn at home. If you're like me, you have kind of an embarrassing amount of yarn at home. So that's up to you. Our colors are limited. It's basically what's been given to us, but it's there if you'd like to use it. Now, you're only allowed to take 2 little skeins or 1 big skein at a time. So grab what you need for the moment, and when you're done, nothing says you can't come back and get some more. We just want everyone to have an opportunity to grab some. So come get your pattern and your hook, and maybe even a skein of yarn to get you started. Keep in mind that all 10 squares we're going to make today are the same pattern, and all the rest of the squares we're going to make are going to be different patterns. So if that tells you what kind of colors you want to do. I'm going to make all of the squares that we do today in the same color, and I'm going to make the rest of the squares in corresponding colors. So I'm choosing white, as you saw, for my square. Let's reveal the first square. Now, if you've already picked up your pattern, you already know what's in there and what to look forward to. Also, something to note is that these tutorials are actually already available online. So if you want a second opinion, or you want to see someone else's style of teaching, then go ahead, search it up on YouTube. This is a free pattern by Yarnspirations. It's real easy to find, and you can see a lot of different people try out this pattern. So maybe one of them will be just what you need. If you get stuck, that's a good way to troubleshoot. See what somebody else has to say. Also, as usual, I am more than happy to help troubleshoot if you'd like to come into the library. You might want to give us a little heads up, give us a call or an email to say you're interested in coming, to make sure that we have some time to set aside to come help you out. But I am more than happy to talk yarn almost anytime. All right, let's talk about today's square. Today's square is probably the easiest square we will work on. And it's, like I said, going to be one of 10. So let's take a look at today's square. We are going to make a traditional granny square. I haven't tucked my ends in yet because I hate that. So I will probably wait until the end of my whole project to do that. You can do it as you go. That is probably more responsible crochet thing to do, but I hate it, so I don't do it. Do whatever you like. Anyway, so perhaps you've seen this before, or perhaps you've even done it before. You can continue this pattern around and around and around and make a blanket just by using this stitch. You just never stop and it keeps growing, and then you have a blanket. It'll be a square, obviously. Most blankets are rectangular, but that doesn't mean you can't make a nice big square blanket. And it makes a very pretty quick to work up project. Let's get a little closer look here. So you can see we have some blocks of double crochet stitches, and we have some chains underneath the next row here. That's what creates this gap where we put our next set of cluster of stitches. And we actually start out here in the middle with a circle, even though it ends up being a square, which is strange, but so is crochet. So we are going to start with a little circle here, and it's going to turn into a fun square. And then we even have a nice little border on here. We are putting a border on all of our squares because this will be the part that makes each square compatible with each other so that they can be easily stitched together to form the blanket. All right, are you ready? Let's get started. This pattern recommends that you use a size G hook for this particular granny square and a size smaller, a size F hook for the following squares. So keep that in mind. There's a reason that they made that differentiation. So I am not going to use those exact sizes, but I'm going to use that theory. And I'm going to use an I hook to make my granny square, and then I'll go one size lower, an H, to make the rest of my project's squares. If you're following your pattern, I'm going to be reading this just like you. And if not, I hope I can give enough instructions so that you can crochet along with us without having to read the pattern. Here's how you make a slip stitch. So I've got my tail in front of my hand. I'm going to grab it with 2 fingers and leave 2 fingers hanging out. I'm going to wrap that yarn behind my fingers, back and front so they cross. Turn my fingers over, send that yarn underneath that loop, grab it, pull while holding onto the tail and the working yarn, and now we have a loop that is adjustable. So I can send my hook in here and cinch it up so that it's nice and snug. It should allow your hook to slide freely inside there, but not be so loose that it's going to fall out, not so tight that it can't move at all. First direction, chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to join with a slip stitch in the first chain to form a ring. This is the first chain that we made, so we are going to bring our hook over there, slide into that first chain, yarn over, drag that yarn through the chain, and continue dragging that yarn through the loop on the hook. Now we have a little ring, and you can see our chains that make up the outside, and you can also see that little hole in the middle. That's what we're going to be working inside of. So our next instruction says to chain 3. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to make 2 double crochets in the ring. Now notice it says the ring and not the stitches. So we're going to be working inside this hole in the middle of our ring and not the chain stitches around it. So let's do that. To make a double crochet, we yarn over, go through that hole in the middle, not the chain stitches, yarn over back through the hole, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. And moving right along, we are going to make 1 more because we need a total of 2. Yarn over through the hole, yarn over back through the hole, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. Now we have 2 double crochets and our beginning chain, and we have successfully created one of our clusters of stitches. This chain here you'll see acts as a double crochet. It gives us the height we need to start building our double crochets next to it. Our next round, I like to use a post-it note to keep track of my rounds. Well, our next part of that round, not our next round. We're still in round 1. You'll notice the next set of instructions appears within some parentheses. Those instructions usually belong together and oftentimes will repeat. So let's see, chain 2 and put 3 double crochets in the ring 3 times. So let's do that. Chain 2, and we're going to put 3 double crochets in this ring. Once again in the ring and not inside the chain stitches. Here's my first double crochet, second double crochet, and third double crochet. Let's take a look at that. Here we have 2 clusters of stitches now on our project. Now that part of instructions appears inside of parentheses, so we're going to do it again, and it says a total of 3 times. We've already done it once, so let's do it twice more. Chain 2, 3 double crochets in the ring. Again, chain 2, 3 double crochets in the ring. Now if you notice that your space is filling up, your available space is filling up in your ring, you can pinch the starting point and slide your stitches down to give you some more room. And there we are. We have 4 double crochet clusters in our project now. After that direction, it says to chain 2 and to join with a slip stitch in the top of the chain 3. Here's our chain 3, here's the top, so we'll do a slip stitch. Insert our hook into that chain, yarn over through the chain, and through the loop on our hook. There we have our slip stitch, and now we have 4 clusters and essentially 4 corners of our work. Last thing we need to do for round 1 is to turn our work, and then for round 2, we need to chain 3. And then we see those parentheses again. This means that all those directions are going to belong to the same place. So we're going to do 2 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, all in the first corner chain 2 space, which is this right here. This is our chain 2 space, and we're going to go right in that hole there, not in the stitches because it says space, not stitch. Let's do that. 2 double crochets, there are my 2 double crochets. See how this chain 3 here looks like a double crochet next door? That creates our cluster. Then we're going to chain 2 and put 3 double crochets. Still working in there. Notice I squished my stitches over because I needed some more room. So here's 3, 1, 2, 3 double crochets. Now we're on to the set of instructions that appears in the brackets, and those instructions say to chain 1 and then put 3 double crochets, a chain 2, and 3 more double crochets in the next corner chain 2 space. End parenthesis 3 times. Okay, so we're going to repeat what's in the parentheses 3 times, including the bit that's in the bracket. So chain 1, and we're going to put 3 double crochets in this next corner space right here. We started in this chain 2 corner space, and now we're moving over to this chain 2 corner space. So I've chained 1, and I'm going to put 3 double crochets in the space, not in the individual stitches. There is my 3 double crochets. Scoot them on over, and we're going to chain 2 and do 3 more double crochets, all inside that space, not the stitches. This is what we're going to do on every subsequent round for our corners. It's just at the beginning you have a lot of corners because it's little. There's not much distance between the corners. All right, we can start to see our square taking place. Here we made our first corner, we moved on and we made our second corner. Let's go back to the bracket. It says to chain 1 and to put 3 double crochets. Next, chain 2 space. Then we're going to chain 2 and 3 more double crochets. Oops. There we go. All right, we're closing in on it. Here we have our first, second, and third corners. Back to the bracket, chain 1, and we're going to put 3 double crochets in our last 2 chain space. Whoops, there we go. Chain 2, and our last 3 double crochets, same chain space. There we are, closing in on it, looking like a square. We've made 3 repeats of that bracketed instruction, so we're going to move on to chain 1 and join with a slip stitch in top of chain 3. Once again, here's the chain 3 we started with. Here's the top. I'm gonna insert my hook into the top of that chain, yarn over, bring it through that chain, and drag it on through the loop on my hook. All right, there we go. We have a nice little square. Let's move on to round 3. All right, let's turn our work again. I'm gonna cinch my little loop back up, turn our work. We're going the other way. You should be right next to a space. And we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Put 2 double crochets in this first chain space. That's this opening right here. And then we're going to chain 1, and we see some parentheses again. Here's our chain 1. Now the parentheses are talking about the corner. Here we can kind of see we have a little bit of distance to travel before we get to a corner, unlike our previous rounds where they were all corners. So we've done a standalone cluster, and now it's time for a corner cluster. This is going to get nice and repetitive very soon. So let's do 3 double crochets, a chain 2, and another set of 3 double crochets, all in this corner space. Not the chains, but the space. There we have it. We made our first cluster that's hanging out in the middle of this side. And we've got our corner cluster, which is a set of 3 double crochets separated by 2 chains and 3 more double crochets. We're out of the parentheses and we're ready to move on. Here we see an asterisk. This usually means we're going to repeat something. So we're going to chain 1. There we are, chained 1. And we're going to put 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space. Here's that space. We have our chain 1 space right there. So let's put 3 double crochets inside there. There we have 3 double crochets hanging out as we make our way from this corner to this corner. And here we are at a corner again. So our directions say to chain 1. And we're going to do 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets. Sounds familiar, huh? There we have it, another corner. Now we can take a look at that asterisk. And we've done all of our directions up to the second asterisk, and it says twice more. So that means we're going to go back to the first asterisk and repeat all that good stuff in there 2 more times. So let's see, chain 1. And we're going to put 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space. So here we have a chain 1 space waiting for us. Let's put 3 double crochets in there. Then we're going to chain 1, and we're coming up on another corner again. So we're going to do our classic 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 more double crochets. All right, there's one of our repeats. We've made our corner. So we're going to go back to that asterisk, which means to chain 1. We're going to put 3 double crochets in our next chain 1 space. Chain 1 again, and do another corner in our chain 2 space over here. 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets. There we have all our repeats, and we have 4 corners. Now after our asterisk, since we're done with our repeats, it says to chain 1 and join with a slip stitch in top of chain 3. So let's do that. Chaining 1, joining with a slip stitch in the top of our chain 3 like we've been doing. Insert the hook, yarn over through the chain and through the loop on your hook. Now we have connected our work And you can see we have an even bigger square now. I think you get the idea. It's gonna continue like this until we have a square that's this big. Let's go on to round 4. Round 4 says to chain 3 and put 2 double crochets in the first chain 1 space. Oh, don't forget to turn. Turning our work so that we're right up next to one of our spaces, and we're going to do our chain 3. That's acting like our double crochet, and put 2 double crochets in our first space right here. So we've made our first cluster in our first available chain 1 space. So we're right here at a corner again. So we're going to do our favorite set of instructions where we chain 1 and put 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets. That gives us our corner. Let's keep working around. Now we're going to chain 1 and put 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space, but that set of instructions is going to repeat. We're going to do that twice. So we're going to chain 1, put 3 double crochets in this space, 1, 2, 3, chain 1 more, and put 3 more double crochets in this space. Here we are at a corner, so let's chain 1 and make our favorite corner repeat. 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets. So we're going to repeat this process all the way through round 8. So I'm going to speed this up and take a look at your pattern. Remember that we're going to chain 1 in between all of our single clusters. So I'm going to chain 1 now, put a cluster of 3 here and a cluster of 3 here, and then I'll chain 1 and make my corner, which has a set of 3 double crochets, a chain 2, and another set of 3 double crochets. And in each single opening, we'll put 3 double crochets. As long as you remember that pattern, you'll be good to go. Here we are at the end of our round 4, and I've finished the last chain 1 space full of double crochet clusters, and to end we're going to do that chain 1 and we are going to slip stitch in the top of our chain 3 to finish it off. And then don't forget to turn your work and you're ready for round 5. Round 5 starts out with a chain 3 again and 2 double crochets in this first chain 1 space. Then we're going to chain 1 and put 3 double crochets in here. We're already at a corner, so I'm going to chain 1 and do my 3 double crochet, 2 chains and 3 double crochet cluster. Now we'll chain 1, do 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 more double crochets, chain 1, 3 more double crochets, chain 1, we're at a corner, 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets. Chain 1, 3 double crochets in this space, chain 1, 3 double crochets in the next space, chain 1, 3 double crochets in the next space, chain 1, corner, 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets. Chain 1, 3 double crochets in this space, chain 1, 3 double crochets in this space, chain 1, 3 double crochets in this space, chain 1, corner time, 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets. Chain 1, 3 double crochets in this space, and you'll notice we're at the end of our row here. We've come right up against our first cluster that we made. So we'll put 3 double crochets in this space. Then we're ready to chain 1 and join to the top of our chain 3. Send that hook in, bring it through the chain and the loop on your hook, and you've connected. All right, our square is growing. We're almost there. Now we're on round 6, and we're gonna speed it up a little. So turn your work. We're gonna chain 3 to start out, and we're gonna put sets of 3 double crochets in all of our loops along and make our little corner cluster. 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochets, and I'll see you around the horn when we're back at the beginning. Remember, when you're starting out, this first space only gets 2 double crochets because your chain is acting as a double crochet. Now you can continue with your chain 1 and your 3 double crochets. All right, I'm about to make my last set of 3 double crochets in this space right here for this round. Now we're going to chain 1 and join in the top of the chain 3. All right, that was row 6. Time for row 7. Turn your work. Remember to chain 3 and put just 2 double crochets in this first space. And then we're going to start our very familiar pattern with all our sets of 3 double crochets, our corner cluster, and on around until I see you back at the beginning. Here we are at the end of our round again. I've chained 1 and I'm going to put 3 double crochets in this last space. 1, 2, 3. Then I'll chain 1 and join in the top of my chain 3. There we are. Big square. Time for round 8. This is our last normal granny square round. So turn your work, chain 3. Remember, only put 2 double crochets in this first space. And then you can continue with our normal pattern. right, we're at the end of my round 8. I'm going to chain 1 and put one more set of 3 double crochets in this last space. 1, 2, 3, chain 1, join in the top of the chain 3, and phew, 8 rounds down. You try crocheting 8 rounds hugging a camera. For round 9, we are going to turn our work. We were going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and we are going to put 1 double crochet in each chain 1 space and each double crochet around, which means all the way for all the chain spaces and double crochets. So here we go. We're going to do 1 double crochet in this chain 1 space. And we're going to put 1 double crochet in each of these 3 double crochets. So 1, move to the next one, 2, move to the next one, 3. Here we are at a chain 1 space again. So I'm going to put 1 double crochet in there. And I went in the space, not in the chain, and 1 double crochet in each of these 3 double crochets. Here we are at a chain space, so I'll do 1 double crochet in there. Then I'll do 1 double crochet in each of these 3 double crochets. One double crochet in the chain space, and 1 in each of these 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. Now you can see we've kind of created a solid border here on top of our granny square pattern, and we are at a corner again. In the corners, we're going to put 1 double crochet, a chain 2, and 1 double crochet. So we're finally breaking our cycle. Here we go. 1 double crochet in the chain space, not the stitches, a chain 2, 2 chains, and another double crochet in that same space. So we're keeping our little corner hole process going. Okay, and we're going to continue doing that. Here we are. We're going to put 1 double crochet in each of these, 1 double crochet in the space, 1 double crochet in each double crochet, 1 double crochet in the space till we get to the other end. Here we are. I did my last double crochet in the set of 3 double crochets here. I'm at a corner, so I'm going to put 1 double crochet, chain 2, and 1 more double crochet in there for that corner. Then I'll keep moving along. 1 double crochet in each of these, 1 double crochet in each space. Here I am at another corner, so I'm ready to double crochet once inside that ring, 2 chains, and 1 more double crochet in that corner. Now I'm ready to put 1 double crochet in each of these 3 and 1 double crochet in each chain 1 space. This is my last corner. I'm going to put a double crochet in the corner, chain 2, and 1 more double crochet, And I'm going to put double crochets in each of the double crochets here, one in the chain one space until I get back to the beginning. Okay, just before I finish off, you'll notice that I'm back where I started, and this chain 3 acts as a double crochet, and it's coming out of this double crochet. So I'm going to put one double crochet here, one double crochet here, and then I'll be done. One double crochet here, one double crochet here, and now I'm right next to that double crochet I started on. So we're going to slip stitch into the top of this chain to be finished. There we have it. It's getting real big and it's got a nice finished edge here. Round number 10. We're nearly there. For this round, we are not going to turn our work. We're going to keep it right here. Keep trucking along. And we're going to chain 1. And we're going to put a single crochet in each double crochet around. And we'll talk about the corner when we get there. Let's start off with our single crochets. Single crochet is insert your hook, yarn over through the stitch, yarn over through the 2 loops on your hook. One more time, into the stitch, yarn over through the stitch, yarn over through the 2 loops on your hook. So keep doing that. Try not to double crochet. I know it's going to be a habit by now, but we're single crocheting. We're at our corner. We're going to do 1 single crochet in the corner, a chain 3, and 1 more single crochet in that corner. And then keep single crocheting along. Here we are at a corner. We're going to put 1 single crochet in there, chain 3, and put 1 single crochet in that same corner, and keep on single crocheting. Here we are at the corner again. Single crochet in the corner, chain 3, single crochet in that same corner, and single crochet bonanza. Here we are at our last corner. 1 single crochet in the corner, 3 chains, 1 more single crochet in the same corner. Now we're going to single crochet till we get back to the single crochet we started with. Now, if you're wondering whether or not you've made it to the end, you can look back at your instructions where it says you should have 35 single crochets across each side edge. So as long as you have 35 single crochets here, then you're ready to join. If not, you can make the necessary adjustments. Join with a slip stitch, and here we are. We have a finished square. It says fasten off. So in order to fasten off, I left my loop large, and I'm going to grab a pair of scissors, and I'm going to leave myself a bit of a tail, give him a snip, then I'm going to open that loop, grab that yarn I snipped, pull him through the loop, and then tug on that tail, and it'll cinch that hole right up. Then I can weave this in, take a tapestry needle and work it through. We can show you that later. And you have a finished granny square. This is number 1 of 10. So get busy. Remember to come to the library and take some of our yarn if you would like it to work on your project at home. Remember, our color selection is limited, so if you have a very specific plan in mind, you're very welcome to use your own yarn. But if you want to kind of do something wild and crazy, you can take our fun yarn, a random color every time you come by. And yeah, so you have 1 done, 9 more to go. And if you don't get all 10 finished by next month's crochet video, don't worry, because next month we're only doing 1 square for that video. So you'll have plenty of time to do a few here and there of your classic granny square. This is like the filler square for our blanket. I think it's going to be really cool. I'm very excited. Oh, and I'll give you a sneak peek of my own personal color choices. I rated my yarn stash, and I actually started this project over quarantine, so I have plenty to go off of. I have this crazy circus of colors here. I have this fun variegated one, and I've got all these other bright colors to go with it. So we can see we have a fun textured square like this. We've got this waffle one, he's fun. We have this popcorny one. We've got this guy. He's got kind of little X's on him. We have this one. We experiment with front post and back post double crochet to make these raised stripes. It's a one-sided pattern. There's no raised sections on the back. We have this guy, some front loop crochet going on to make that texture. We got this guy, some more fun post work. We have this popcorny looking thing that's fun. This is my scraps of yarn. I was trying to eke out one more square. Got this interesting pattern going on here. And then this one, which has a bit of a shell looking thing going on in between the posts here, kind of a cable looking texture. That's what you can look forward to if you stay tuned for the weeks to come for all of our crochet fun. Thanks again for joining us. Come on in and grab a pattern, a hook, and a ball of yarn if you haven't already. Send us pictures of what you've been working on so that we can all enjoy together the fun of being together for crochet from a distance. And we're open. Come to the library, check out some books. Just say hi. We're happy to see you. And we'll see you again, if not before next month, when we do square number 2. Bye. So this month, we're going to teach you the first square. I'm going to teach you. I'm the only one here. Okay. Keep in mind, if you're wanting to follow any sort of color pattern for this pattern, keep in mind if you're wanting to follow some sort of color pattern for this project. Yeah, okay. Keep in mind that we're going to make 10 of the same squares today to start out with, but then each subsequent keep in mind that all 10 of the squares we're going to make today are the same pattern, and each subsequent square